One share of a good haul could hit 3,000 pesos, roughly 300 grand today. And here is what stops an auditor cold. Nobody skimmed it first. The year is 1716. Meet Ned, a pirate with a cutlass and zero savings. Today you live his day while I open his books, hunting the deductions. Better payday than yours? Or worse? Tell me at the end. So who are you today? 2 years back, you broke your back on a merchant tub, hauling sugar and rum across the Atlantic for rotten food and pennies. Then pirates took the ship. Join us or keep starving. You looked at your ruined hands and signed. Worst call of your life or the best? We tally it at the end. What were you giving up? Honestly, nothing. A Navy sailor made about £1.50 a month, call it $200 to $400 modern dollars, for work that killed him. Wormy biscuits, floggings, press gangs hauling men from taverns. Quick audit. Could you take that job at that price? Neither would they. That is why the Black Flag never ran short of volunteers. So here is the bait under the Black Flag. No wages. Everything ran on shares. Seize a cargo, sell it, split it across the crew in nearly equal cuts. On a king's ship, the prize sailed up to the crown. New era, new hope, and for once, I am rooting for the man with the cutlass to keep what he earns. But that split was not a handshake. It was a written contract. The Articles. Before a voyage, the code was read aloud, and every man swore on a Bible or crossed pistols over it. Pay, bans, punishments, all on paper, signed on day one. Outlaws ran on an employment contract. Your last job never let you sign your own terms. So, how big was a cut? Let's open the books. By the Articles of Bartholomew Roberts, a regular pirate like you got exactly 1 share. Pocket that number, 1. The captain drew half again, sometimes double. The quartermaster just above. Top to bottom, barely double. I have audited kings who paid themselves 1,000 times their diggers. This was suspiciously fair. 1 share of what, though? The workhorse coin was the Spanish peso. They chopped the silver disc into 8 wedges for change, hence the nickname, the piece of 8. Above it, the gold doubloon. 1 peso bought a craftsman's whole day of labor, so call it $100 modern dollars. 1 coin, a full day's wage. But before you picture mountains of it, let me kill myth number 1, and it hurts. Real hauls were dull. Bolts of cloth, barrels of sugar and rum, tools, nails. Coin aboard was rare, gold galleons rarer. So you robbed shabby merchant tubs and fenced the goods at half price. The word treasure was mostly fabric and sugar with better marketing. Here is the line I read twice. The code covered disability. Lose your right arm and the Articles owed you about 600 pesos. Call it 60 grand today. Paid off the top. A leg paid less. An eye, about 100. A Navy man crippled for the crown got a crutch and a begging bowl. Outlaws wrote better injury cover than the government. But fair pay needs someone fair in charge. So watch Pirate Politics. These crews ran a working democracy a century before the revolutions. Nobody appointed the captain. The crew elected him and could dump him any day for cowardice or empty holds. You picked your own boss and could unpick him by Friday. Your landlord will not let you vote him out. So who guarded your share when a captain got greedy? The quartermaster, elected too. He divided the plunder fairly, judged small quarrels, and stood between the crew and any captain who pushed too far. On an honest king's ship, the officers took, and you shut up. Here, one man's whole job was making sure your cut stayed your cut. So what did the captain get for that top share? Power, but only in battle. When hulls ground together and the bullets sang, his word was law and hesitation killed. But the moment the guns went quiet, he was almost equal again. Same salted meat, cabin open to anyone. King for an hour, then first among equals. But before you sign up for the votes, climb below deck, because the romance dies here. The berth deck sat low, dark and airless. You could not stand straight. Hammocks hung shoulder to shoulder, swinging with the swell all night. Bathhouse heat, sour air, rats outnumbering the men. You wake in the dark, and your bed is already swinging into your neighbor. So you're hungry, and this menu will not help. The base was hardtack, ship's biscuit so hard you banged it on the table to shake the weevils out, then ate it in the dark on purpose. Beside it, salt beef from a barrel, tough and violently oversalted. Guess how often the menu changed? Wrong, it did not. So you reach for a drink, and that is its own disaster. Water in wooden casks went green and reeking within weeks, so the drink was rum cut with that foul water, later named grog. And the code shows up on your side again. Every man got a daily mug. In writing, your office does not guarantee coffee. This crew guaranteed rum. But the real killer was scarier than any frigate, and it was on the menu. Scurvy. Live on hardtack and salt beef with no fresh fruit, and the body runs out of vitamin C. Gums bled, teeth dropped out, old wounds reopened. It erased whole crews. Some skippers noticed lemons helped, never knowing why. The thing most likely to kill you was your own lunch. And the disease kept coming. Tropical heat turned the hold into an oven. Wounds rotted with no doctor. Fever dropped men in days. A surgeon aboard was a lottery win. Treatment meant rum for the patient and a saw for the limb. So the payday looks fat until you spot the other number. A pirate career ran terrifyingly short. Hold that thought. But it was not all rot and fever. Calms and shore leave when the crew cut loose. You played cards and dice for your shares and lost the lot by sunrise. A fiddle scraped, the rum went round, and the port taverns drank the gold in days. So that fair share you fought for? Rich tonight, broke by Friday. But a free-for-all eats itself, so the same code ran iron discipline. Fighting aboard was flat-out banned. A grudge that words could not fix meant a duel, settled on the beach with seconds. Open flame after curfew was banned too. A powder-packed ship burns like a torch. The outlaws you picture as chaos ran a stricter rule book than your workplace. And the house rules ran deeper. Many articles banned women aboard entirely. Men would kill over it, so the code killed the argument first. Gambling on credit got cut at the root, so IOUs could not split the crew. Lights out on schedule, weapons ready. Practically the army, and that discipline is what kept them alive long enough to spend a share. But break those rules and payback came fast. Stealing from your own crew, cowardice, breaking the articles. That earned the whip, the cat-o'-nine-tails. For heavier sins, there was keel hauling, dragged on a rope under the hull across barnacles sharp as knives. They borrowed it from the very navies they hated. The Fair Society had a very unfair floor. But the sentence you truly feared was marooning. The offender got rowed to a bare sandbar and left one item, a loaded pistol with a single bullet. One. No water, no food, just the ship shrinking on the horizon. That pistol was not mercy. It let a man pick his own ending. The democracy that gave you a vote could vote you off the edge of the world. So how did you earn that share? By fighting far less than you think. Running a victim down in a fast sloop and scaring it into surrender beat a real fight every time. Why risk your own cut when a merchantman quits without a shot? The perfect raid was cargo intact, crew unscratched, nobody's share bleeding out. Fear outworked steel. So the real weapon was not the cutlass. It was the Jolly Roger, the black flag with the skull. Pure psychology. Every merchant captain knew the deal it advertised. Surrender, keep your life, lose the cargo. The older red flag meant mercy for nobody. That scrap of fabric saved powder and blood. Half the victims dropped their sails on sight. Cheapest weapon aboard, never reloaded. But a stubborn victim meant boarding, the ugly part. Hulls slammed together, hooks bit the rails, pirates poured over. The crush weapon was a cutlass, short and heavy. In your sash, 3 pistols and clay grenades of powder. A few minutes of fury and the deck was yours. Or you were not around to count your share. That is the price tag on equal money. Prize taken, and now the part I love, the payout. The plunder got split on the spot and spent even faster. Cargo went to fences. Silver and gold were cut into shares on a barrelhead. Saving made no sense when tomorrow held a cannonball or a rope. So a fat prize became drinks and boots in 2 weeks. Books balanced to 0, but nobody up top skimmed it first. But if the pay was spent by Friday, where is the buried treasure? the map, the X, the chest under a palm. Almost pure myth. And think why. You cannot bury what you already drank. The whole era has one confirmed case, William Kidd, who stashed loot before his arrest. Real pirates did not bank in the sand, they banked at the tavern. And cliché number 2, walking the plank. Great visual, blindfolded prisoner, blade at his back, sharks below. One problem, the records do not support it. Novelists and Hollywood invented it. Why stage a plank when marooning already did the job? Real pirates dumped a man on an island or over the side. The plank was a set piece, not a policy. And the eye patch, the peg leg, the parrot? Half true, so let's audit each. Maiming was real. Cannon fire took arms, legs, and eyes, hence the hooks, stumps, and patches. One theory says the patch kept an eye preset for the dark below deck. Parrots were tropical merchandise you could sell, but a peg leg on every pirate? That is illustrators having fun. So the audit is in. What did you clear? In a lucky year, 2 fat prizes. One share could reach 2,000 or 3,000 pesos. Rough math, about $300,000. A fortune for a starving ex-sailor. And I will flag it, rare luck. A Navy man saw mere hundreds. One prize beat years of his wages, and nobody upstream took a cut. But here is the deduction the articles could not delete. The one that finally shows up, the career itself. A pirate's run averaged a year and a half, sometimes just months. Then a cannonball, a fever, or the noose closed the account. That golden shine that pulled you aboard burned out like a match. Fair pay, yes. You were just never paid for long. But there was one exit off the books. In 1717, the British Crown offered pirates an amnesty, the King's pardon. Surrender due by 1718. Show up on time, quit the trade, sins wiped clean. Plenty settled ashore. Some even hunted old shipmates for bounties. The safest payday on offer, and half the men turned it down for one more share. But missed that pardon, and the ledger closed itself. A captured pirate was tried and hanged. London kept a spot for it. Execution dock in Wapping. The most notorious got tarred, caged in iron, and hung at the river mouth for months. This was the final line in the accounts, the one deduction the code could never write off. So here is the tally and no verdict from me. Your side, medicine, a long life, nobody hanging you for your job. Ned's side, an equal share, a captain he could fire, injury pay off the top, and a payslip that once hit 300,000 with nobody skimming it first. 40 centuries of books, and that is the closest anyone got to fair. Better than your paycheck or worse? Do the math, comments are open. And subscribe, the one line in this ledger with 0 deductions. Next, I audit a medieval knight.